Hello and welcome to today's video where we're going to cover the comeback players of the year. In the NFL, the National Football League in the United States, there is an award given at the end of the year award ceremony where they go over the player that came back from a hardship or returned to form after a year of really struggling and gave them an award for, the perseverance of coming back. So I thought, why not identify a player in each major region that either really did poorly in 2022 or came back from retirement. I think you could have made a case. I could have made a case for Doublelift or Uzi just simply coming out of retirement and being competitive. I think you could also make a case for players that, were good in 2021 that had high hopes. 2022 fell off a cliff and then came back to form in 2023 at a high level. I think that's the way I'm looking at it. That's the way I'm looking at it, right? So we'll start with the LCS. Licorice of Golden Guardians. Years ago with Cloud9, he was considered one of the best top laners in North America. Then he had some serious drop-off, kicked around from team to team. And this past year, Licorice has returned to form to being one of the best North American top laners. And somebody could argue, well, it's NA. And it's like, yeah, well, I have to pick a player in North America. So, I think you can make a case for Stixay. I think that honestly would have been a valid claim as well, given that he pretty much didn't play much at all last year, if I recall. But I ended up going with Licorice, who in 2022 had a 36% win rate, 2 KDA, 7.8 CS per minute, 54.3 KP, 368 gold per minute, 470, Jesus Christmas, 457 damage per minute. 21.2 damage share, 23.7 gold share. On average was down 25 gold, up 2 CS, 55 XP, so even in lane. Would have 18 solo kills in 45 games, played 14 champions. I think he played with CLG last year. Could be wrong, it could have been Golden Guardians. I should have wrote it down because he was the player I doubted where he was. Now, Licorice this year, better win rate, obviously, 57%, would go to MSI, is going to Worlds. 3 KDA, that's better, 8.1 CS per minute, 50.5 KP, 391 gold per minute, 484 damage per minute, 21.1% of the gold share, so pretty much the same, 22.3 damage share, a little less, he's on a better team. On average, it's up 230 gold, 2 CS, 55 XP, 28 solo kills, and has played 83 games already, will play more at Worlds, and has 15 champions played this year. So I don't think that many people would argue that Licorice did not improve from last year to this year. There definitely is a case to be made that Stixay or Doublelift or others may have also played very well after having either an absent 2022 or, a poor 2022 that returned to a high level of play. In the LPL, I picked Elk of BLG. You're going to notice all 4 of these players are on high level teams, but at the same time, that wasn't intended as much as it is you think about it. The player that really improved the most from last year to this year that was good in 2021 or before it. Like, I don't want to pick a player that, like, oh, look, they got better. Like, they didn't come back from anything, right? They developed. There's a difference between coming back and developing, if that makes sense. I should have said that off the start because people probably commented already. But I think there's a distinction to be made there. So Elk, 36% win rate last year. He had a 64% this year. Elk played with Ultra Prime in 2022. 3.3 KDA, now 4.7. 9.4 CS per minute, went up to 9.6. KP went up from 67.7 to 70. He went up in every stat pretty much. Gold per minute, 438, 476, 594, 740 for DPM. Like, that's a crazy damage increase. Elk looked really good in 2021 on Team Wii. A lot of hype around him going into last year. And then he pretty much shit the bed with Ultra Prime as a whole. That org obviously didn't do well this year either. He got out, went to BLG, and looked very good. Elk looks like one of the best AD carries in the world. He'll be one of the best at, the Worlds, definitely upper half. Gold percentage is the same at 25%. Damage share went up 29.4 to 31.3. Played 12 champions in 86 games last year and 16 in 142 thus far, and probably many more still to go. You have to keep in mind, like Licorice and Elk stats, and even like BDD and Mickey, their stats are only domestic regular season stats for the most part, where this year we have international stats in there and a lot of playoff stats affecting this year's numbers, and yet we still see an improvement, right? Goes to show you just how strong their stats probably were if you just look domestically. In the LCK, I went BDD. I think there's a big case to be made for Keen. I definitely thought about it for sure. In the end, though, I thought, comparing Keen and BDD last year, I thought BDD was worse. With Nongshim, I thought Nongshim, honestly, I thought he was washed. And he came back to form at a high level. His win rate doubled from 35 to 70%. KDA went up from 3.2 to 5.7. CS per minute 8.5 to 8.7. 5% more KP. 26 more gold per minute. About 21 more damage per minute. So similar actual production, but he was more involved. We saw sorry for tapping the mic. We saw KT revolve around BDD's facilitating a lot of this split. He really made a case for MVP level performances. If you look at it with an eye test, I know my LCK All Pro teams, he was not on there. And like I said during that video, I'll say again, it is stats based, and these stats are not as strong as other mid laners in the LCK, but they're also very strong compared to last year for BDD. And not to mention the fact that this is a lot of eye test, in my opinion. This is an opinion based video, and I'm using stats just to fill the board. 21 point, so his gold share went down a bit, about 0.5 percentage. Damage share 1.5, went from a pretty bad team in Nongshim. I mean, despite having Kana and Ghost on it, they were pretty bad. Laning, he improved. He was negative last year, down 80 gold, 2 CS, 110 XP. In this split, he was up 145 gold. Still down 1 CS and 160 XP. I mean, pretty much even in lane. 17 solo kills compared to 10 last year. He had 20 champions in 82 games. And then this year, 22 in 108 thus far. LCK playoffs still going on. And he'll have Worlds games as well to add to this. LEC, Mickey X. So last year, Mickey was not on G2. He was on XL. He had gotten the boot and then joined XL mid-split. So went from unemployed to a rough season to now on G2 once again and excelling at a high level. So I ended up picking Mickey. I think you could have made a case for Hansama. I think Crowny is a very good, option because he was pretty solid in 2021. Adam as well. You can make a case for that, him as well. BDS going from the LFL back to the LEC and playing at a high level. I think there is a real case as Genda. I think similar story, taking some time in ERLs and returning to form. But Mickey being the best of them. He had a 50 KP, 50 win rate last year, 71 this year. KDA went from 2.5 to 3.8. KP went up 2%. Vision score went from 3.13 to 3.23. And went down in vision in wards placed. So he was placing about 20 wards every 10 minutes in 2022. And this year he was placing about 16 every 20 minutes, 16 every 10 minutes. So 4 less wards, roughly, well, 3 less wards, and still had a higher vision score, right? So his vision was improved because he was on a better team. Would place more control wards last year, 3 every 5 minutes versus 2 every 5 minutes this year, and yet cleared the same amount, 2 every 5 minutes. So forced to do more with wards last year on a worse team. Now with G2, he's able to be as effective and use his gold elsewhere. 16 champions, 42 games last year, 20 and 79. Obviously, supports don't have a ton of stats, but we do see Mickey playing very well this year compared to last year. I think, I definitely, when I was thinking of this idea, I thought of Licorice first. And then I was thinking, okay, let's work this out. LCK is pretty easy. BDD was BDD or Keen, right? And I end up going with BDD. And then after that, I'm thinking, do I do Uzi? He didn't play the whole year. I mean, you think of the really good teams. I mean, a lot of these players went to Worlds last year. I was trying to avoid players, too, that went to Worlds last year because, you know, did they really make a comeback? Like, oh, look how good this player is. He did bad last year, but he still went to Worlds, or he still went to MSI, or still made the playoffs, played at a high level, right? Trying to find players that really disappointed us last year, that were good the year before or were good in the past, and then all of a sudden this year we're like, oh, they're really good. And like I said, I think, you know, players like Stixay, Adam, Crowney, Keen, Uzi, Double Lift. I mean, we could go down a long list of players I think that we could, you know, make a case for. So, you know, comment down below with your opinions on who you think the comeback players of the year are. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it, subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.